using his television program, The Old Time Gospel Hour, to teach Christians that cultural engagement was a Christian responsibility. Falwell understood that Christians couldn't retreat from culture. They had to transform it through organized action and alternative creation. Anita Bryant became a lightning rod for controversy when she opposed homosexual activism in Florida. But her courage inspired thousands of Christians to understand that remaining silent about moral issues was actually supporting the enemy's agenda. Bryant paid a heavy personal price for her stand, but she showed other Christians that faithfulness sometimes requires sacrifice. Francis Schaeffer's How Should We Then Live? Series taught Christians to understand cultural change as spiritual warfare and to respond with both intellectual engagement and practical action. Schaeffer showed Christians that they needed to understand the philosophical foundations of cultural corruption in order to respond effectively. The 1970s also saw the beginnings of the Christian response that would bloom in later decades. Christian schools began expanding rapidly as parents sought alternatives to public education that was increasingly hostile to biblical values. These educational pioneers understood that winning the culture war required raising a generation that was thoroughly grounded in biblical truth. The rise of Christian publishing through companies like Tyndale House and Thomas Nelson provided Christian families with alternatives to secular books, magazines, and educational materials. These publishers understood that Christians needed content that reinforced rather than undermined their values. Most importantly, the 1970s saw the beginning of the homeschool movement as Christian parents like Raymond and Dorothy Moore began teaching families that they could take complete responsibility for their children's education. This movement would eventually produce leaders like Kirk Cameron, who would use their platforms to promote biblical values in secular entertainment. The 1970s teach us that cultural corruption doesn't happen accidentally. It's the result of organized campaigns by people who understand that controlling entertainment means controlling culture.